Have you ever wondered why the United States has a higher rate of gun violence than any other developed country? It's a burning question that's sparking countless debates. We're talking about a complex issue that touches on the very heart of American society. It's not just about the numbers, it's about people's lives. But how did we get here? What are the underlying causes? Understanding this is crucial if we're to find a solution. So, are you ready? Well, let's dive into the facts and figures to understand this issue better. To grasp the gravity of the situation, let's first look at the numbers. The United States is no stranger to gun violence. In fact, it's a country that leads the developed world in gun-related deaths. Each year, more than 38,000 lives are lost to firearms, a figure that's been on the rise for the past few decades. That's more than 100 lives every single day. But these deaths aren't spread evenly across the country. There are stark geographical disparities that come to light when we delve deeper into the data. States with stringent gun laws, such as Massachusetts and New York, have significantly lower rates of gun-related deaths compared to states with more lenient laws, like Alaska and Louisiana. And the story doesn't end there. Gun violence in the United States has a racial element that's impossible to ignore. African Americans are more than twice as likely to be victims of gun-related homicides compared to their white counterparts. This disparity is even more pronounced in urban areas where the majority of gun violence occurs. Now, let's put this into perspective by comparing these numbers with other developed countries. The United States has less than 5% of the world's population, but holds almost half of the world's privately owned guns. This gun ownership rate is nearly double that of the second highest country, Yemen. And when it comes to gun-related deaths, the United States surpasses all other high-income countries with a rate that's 6 times higher than Canada and 25 times higher than Australia. These figures paint a grim picture of the current state of affairs, but what's causing this? Many factors contribute to the high rates of gun violence in the United States. Let's start with the elephant in the room: lax gun laws. The United States, unlike many other countries, has a constitutional amendment protecting the right to bear arms. This has led to a culture where firearms are readily accessible, and laws regulating them vary widely from state to state. Some states require background checks and waiting periods, while others have virtually no restrictions. This lack of uniformity and regulation makes it easier for guns to fall into the wrong hands. Now, moving on to the second factor, the sheer number of firearms. The United States is home to more guns than people. Yes, you heard it right. There are more firearms than there are citizens. This high number of guns, coupled with lax laws, creates a dangerous cocktail. It means that anyone, from a teenager to a convicted felon, can easily get their hands on a weapon, often with little to no oversight. Lastly, we can't ignore societal factors. Poverty, inequality, and a lack of social support systems can all contribute to gun violence. People living in impoverished areas are often more likely to turn to crime, and when guns are readily available, these crimes can quickly turn violent. Furthermore, a lack of mental health resources means that those struggling with mental illnesses may not get the help they need, and in some cases, may resort to violence. But these issues are not standalone problems. They are complex and interconnected. Lax gun laws enable the high number of firearms, which in turn is exacerbated by societal issues like poverty and mental health. It's like a tangled web, where pulling on one thread only tightens the knots on the others. Understanding these root causes is the first step to addressing the issue of gun violence. It's not about pointing fingers or laying blame, but about recognizing the multifaceted nature of the problem. Now that we've understood the causes, let's explore the potential solutions to this problem. Addressing gun violence in the United States is no easy task, but there are potential solutions that can make a difference. Let's dive into some of these proposed strategies. One of the most commonly suggested solutions is implementing stricter gun laws. This could involve measures such as comprehensive background checks, waiting periods for gun purchases, and restrictions on the sale of high-capacity magazines. Many advocates point to countries like Japan and Australia where strict gun laws have been associated with significantly lower rates of gun violence. Next up is better mental health care. A considerable amount of gun-related deaths in the US are suicides. By improving access to mental health services, we could potentially save lives. Moreover, effective mental health care could also help identify and treat individuals who might pose a risk to others. Countries like Finland and Canada have shown that investing in mental health can contribute to a decrease in violent incidents. Lastly, community intervention programs have shown promise in reducing gun violence. These programs focus on intervening in the lives of at-risk individuals before they resort to violence. They provide resources, mentorship, and opportunities that might otherwise be unavailable. Cities like Glasgow in Scotland have successfully used this strategy to drastically reduce violent crime. While these solutions sound promising, it's important to remember that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. Each of these strategies comes with its own set of challenges and complexities. Stricter gun laws, for instance, face strong opposition from those who staunchly support the Second Amendment. Improved mental health care requires substantial investment and a shift in societal attitudes. Community intervention programs, on the other hand, require active involvement and cooperation from local communities. Addressing gun violence is a multifaceted issue that requires a comprehensive, thoughtful approach. While these solutions have potential, their implementation is a subject of intense debate. As we move forward, it's crucial that we continue to explore and discuss these potential solutions, always bearing in mind the ultimate goal: a safer, more peaceful society. The question of how to reduce gun violence in the United States is a hotly contested issue. And why wouldn't it be? It's a debate that tugs at the very fabric of our society, a battle between cherished freedoms and the pressing need for public safety. On one side, we have advocates for gun rights, who firmly believe in the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. They argue that this right is not only a fundamental part of the US Constitution, but also a vital means of self-defense. They contend that law-abiding citizens should not be penalized for the actions of those who misuse guns. They believe that tighter gun controls may not necessarily lead to a reduction in gun violence, but could potentially disarm the innocent, leaving them vulnerable. On the flip side, we have proponents of stricter gun control. They point to the alarming statistics of gun-related deaths and injuries in the US, far outpacing other developed nations. They argue that common-sense measures like universal background checks, banning assault weapons, and restricting high-capacity magazines could potentially save countless lives. They believe that the right to life and safety should take precedence over unrestricted access to firearms. It's a heated debate with passionate defenders on both sides, and it's not just about statistics and laws. It's about values, culture, and identity. It's about what kind of society we want to live in and what sacrifices we're willing to make to get there. But amidst this cacophony of voices and viewpoints, there's a common thread that weaves through all arguments: the recognition that the current state of affairs is simply untenable. The toll of gun violence on individuals, families, and communities is too high a price to pay. So, where do we go from here? That's the million-dollar question. But as we navigate this complex issue, let's remember the stakes. This isn't just a debate for debate's sake, it's a matter of life and death, of freedom and responsibility. Despite the controversy, one thing is clear: action is needed. Because in the end, we all want the same thing: a safer, more secure America. And to get there, we must be willing to engage in this great debate, to listen, to learn, and most importantly, to act. The high rates of gun violence in the United States are a pressing issue that requires immediate attention. Let's imagine for a moment a world where every individual feels safe walking down the street, where children can attend school without fear, and where families don't have to mourn loved ones lost to gun violence. This world isn't a far-off dream, it's a possibility that lies within our reach. You can play an integral role in making this vision a reality. There are countless ways for you to contribute. You could support gun control advocacy groups who tirelessly fight to curb gun violence. These organizations are often in need of volunteers and donations to continue their important work. Another impactful way to make a difference is by exercising your right to vote. Vote for candidates who prioritize stricter gun laws and who believe in creating a safer America. Your vote counts, and it can be a powerful tool in bringing about change. Moreover, education is key. Inform yourself about the issue, understand the nuances, and share your knowledge with others. A well-informed public is a powerful force that can drive change. Each and every action, no matter how small, can have a ripple effect. Your involvement could inspire others to do the same, creating a wave of change that could reshape our society. Remember, change starts with you. Together, we can make a difference.